Hi there BookTube, it's Roz. I'm here with a shortish video to explain the choices for the People April potential group read. So People April is a month-long readathon about all kinds of non-fiction to do with the stories of real-life people. So biography, memoir, diaries, journals, letters, all of that. And Elisabeth and I, as co-hosts, wanted to offer the possibility of a group read if that's something that people want. So I'm going to run through the 5 options that we've selected, and then there will be a poll which will go up tomorrow. That's Saturday the 11th of March. It'll stay up for just a few days, and then we'll choose the top book, and I'll update this the description of this video so that you don't go looking for the poll if the decision's already made, and you can see which one's got the popular vote. Elisabeth and I are quite chilled about this. If people don't really want to do this and no one votes, we won't be worried. But presuming that people do, we'll set up a Voxer group and host it, and it could be fun. So we tried to pick a kind of varied selection of books to see give people a bit of choice. And I'm going to run through them in kind of alphabetical order by title, so to kind of randomise it, I suppose. And so the first one I'm going to tell you about is Blood Legacy, Reckoning with a Family Story of Slavery by Alex Renton. And this is a kind of family history, biography of Renton's family members with a bit of memoir and kind of personal reflection thrown in, plus a little bit of travelogue. So Alex Renton is a journalist and a writer and a broadcaster. He happened to be born in Canada, but he's basically a posh boy from Britain. He comes from a well-off upper-class family, and has but he's also worked for Oxfam. He has sort of humanitarian interests. So it was quite something for him to realise that his forebears were actually slave plantation owners, and he, in trying to work out how he as a person now should deal with that and what is his responsibility, in that his family still elements of their wealth come significantly from having been slave owners in the past. That's the book. It's unflinching, moving, timely. Those are the words applied to it. As we all kind of discuss the issues around accountability, reparations. That's the first one. Number 2 I don't have. I have as an ebook, but it's The Cost of Living by Deborah Levy. And the Renton book came out in 2021. Levy's books from 2018, they're all fairly recent, these the ones we've chosen. Levy's best known as a novelist, I would say, and Hot Milk was one of hers. Swimming Home was another. The Man Who Saw Everything, that's one I read, absolutely loved. So she's a good stylist, and alongside her novels, she started writing sort of short memoirish books. She's written 3 so far. The Cost of Living is the second of those 3, but don't let that put you off. They're not sort of really sequential. They're more like have a particular focus. And The Cost of Living appealed to Elisabeth and I because it's very much focusing on her life as a sort of woman in the middle part of her life, and things like separation and losing a parent, but also the minutiae of I don't know, having to deal with plumbing or dead chickens, or they're known to be these her memoirs kind of funny and wise and sparky and kind of a bit political with a small p, sort of feminist, I suppose, but and not a traditional memoir but something somewhere between memoir and essays, I suppose. When The Cost of Living came out in 2018, it was sort of one of the books of the year all over the place, so you may have heard of it already. Book number 3, The Five, by Hallie Rubenhold, and the subtitle of this is The Untold Lives of the Women Killed by Jack the Ripper. Now this is again a book that kind of crosses some biographical genres, I suppose, because it's a group biography, it's also kind of social history, and it's also sort of true crime. Jack the Ripper must be the murderer who has the most books written about him. You know, they're everywhere. There seems to be a new one every year, doesn't there? But this book by Rubenhold is about Polly and Annie, Elisabeth and Catherine and Mary Jane, who were the 5 real women who are only really remembered now as having been the Ripper's victims. And she sets to recover the details of their lives and bring them back to us as people in their own right. I read her book, The Covent Garden Ladies, which was about sex workers in Georgian London. She has a great facility for bringing ordinary people's lives to life for a contemporary reader. So that was number 3. Number 4 is the other one that I don't have, and that's I'll Have What She's Having, My Adventures in Celebrity Dieting. Elisabeth and I thought we ought to offer perhaps something a bit more light-hearted, slightly less heavy than some of these. So we thought, let's find a food memoir. And we picked this one by Rebecca Harrington that came out in 2015 because it's a mixture of, food memoir, but also like kind of celebrity biography, I suppose, because what Harrington does is, in a kind of quite a light-hearted and easily digestible way, for the reader at least, she tries out and writes about the diets of a series of famous women, you know, everyone from, I don't know, Jackie Kennedy to Gwyneth Paltrow, and describes the consequences. Sounds like a giggle. Relatively short and, as I say, a bit more light-hearted. Choice number 5. The Women I Think About at Night. Now, if that sounds like, you know, a bit of a sort of personal sexual biography, no, that's not what it is. It's Travelling the Paths of My Heroes by Mia Kankimaki. Now, she's a Finnish writer. She published this in 2018 in Finnish, but the English translation by Douglas Robinson came out in 2020. And this crosses the boundaries, I guess, between travel journal and memoir and biography, because she basically, what she did was she had a bit of a, you might call it a midlife crisis, I suppose. She sold up her home in Finland and set off to travel around the world, visiting places linked to the women who she describes as her guardian angels, you know, women who she found as, you know, an inspiration to her. And that takes her to Tanzania, to Kenya, to Japan, to Italy. She writes about other adventurous women, explorers, artists, but also her travels in, and so what she found out about them, what she found out about herself, and the places that took her to. So sounds like good fun. Those are your 5 choices. Do go and vote if you'd like to take part in the group read. If you don't actually want to take part in a group read, don't bother to vote, because that'll just confuse us. And I'll let you know what wins.